Hello and welcome to DrawForever.com. This is a demonstration on how to draw a skull. Skulls are important to know how to draw because if you're going to learn how to do zombies, or if you want to draw a decent head, the structure of the skull makes up the bulk of the features and shape of the head. So we're going to start drawing the same way we always start with a head. This is a frontal view. So what we're going to do first is draw a circle or a sphere, divide it down the center, and go for those standard proportions that we discussed before. Halfway across is going to be roughly the brow line. This would be about the top of the head. From here to here, you double it. Length of this to this is going to give you right about where the jaw is going to end, and this is roughly where the head would be. A little under the brow ridge is the eye line. Roughly about here is where the mouth would have been. Past tense. Okay, now for the skull. Consider the general shape of the eyes, or the eye sockets in this case, are sort of, you could start them as circular, and again the distance between is roughly an eye's distance, but once you get the circle, put in a kind of squared off shape that droops towards the outside of the head. It's bigger than, obviously, it's bigger than the where the eyes would be. So like I said, as long as you make it kind of square, kind of drooping towards the outside, meaning here. This is, in this area would be the V between the nose and again, you know, different people, their skulls are shaped slightly different, which is why people look slightly different than each other. Okay, so now we've got basically the eye sockets in. Next, the would have been where the nose would have been, only now, and I mean this you know the symbol for, is a triangular hollow. So here's like the hollow of where the nose would have been. And then, roughly about here, you're going to have the mouth barrel area. First I put it in, if you notice, as a shape. I'm not drawing teeth yet or anything, because what I want to get next is how the cheekbones come across, this again forming sort of the muzzle area of the face. And now the bones that, well, the bone that borders the side of the eye socket. In here would be the brow ridge. So at this point you should have something that's starting to look like a skull. Now there's a bone that comes back towards the ear, meaning it goes along, we've talked about it on the profile. But on the front view you don't really see it. But what you do see is the cranium, which I kind of squared off right about where the top plane is going to be, because that's kind of the way skulls, you don't want everything drawn with circles. It's better to find where the planes change and angularize it slightly. So here's roughly where the plane changes, and therefore that's where I'm changing the angle a little bit. Okay, and now, you know, there's the side of the nose, or nose bone. Okay, now for the teeth. You got your top teeth, and this is just, you know, a general impression. I'm not going to like start counting teeth, really. I think it's the, well, whatever. I think your canines are like number 4, but I'm just putting in teeth. This is the top row. Don't forget, your lips cover most of this. When we do the zombie later, you'll see how this all works as far as the zombie's kind of like a cutaway of half living, half dead. Here's the bottom. Now, this bone kind of goes that way. And this is why they call it the mouth barrel, because it's very obvious at this point that it's a protrusion and a shape within itself. So we're getting to the lower jaw, which fits in underneath this. And here's the chin. Remember that, you know, a person's chin is an underplane right here. So again, looking at that side to this side, where this is, to try and keep it symmetrical. But keep it kind of loose at this point, because you don't want to, you know, you don't want to pin everything down with tight, exact lines. Okay, and also, you know, obviously, this is a hollow area. When you draw it, it's always darker towards the top because there's more, it's casting, it's more shadow towards the top. More light is bouncing into the lower part. And, you know, if you want to get into little things, you got the, where the optic nerve comes through, which is roughly right about there. So there's a front view of the skull.